Hello everyone, good morning. I am Eliza Jade Lumaday and I will be your reporter for today. The topic that I will be discussing is about the psychological basis of education. I will be discussing to you the psychology meaning and origin and also the branches of psychology. So I hope you will gain more knowledge about my topic. The first topic that I will be discussing to you is about psychology, its meaning and origin. Next is the influence of psychology, particularly in education. The influence of psychology in theoretical aspect of education, and also the influence of psychology in the practical aspect of education. And the last is the branches of psychology. So now let us know what is the meaning of psychology. So there are many meanings of psychology according to different psychologists. So here, psychology has been derived from the two words psych, which means mind, and logos, meaning science. Hence, psychology is the science of mind. And according to John Watson, um, the discipline of psychology in the beginning of the 20th century is characterized as the science of behavior. So here are some definitions of psychology from different psychologists. So, according to William James, that psychology daw is the description and the explanation of state of consciousness, while from William Wundt, psychology is the study of consciousness. So here is the psychology meaning and origin. The origin of psychology from philosophical beginning to the modern day. So according to a German physiologist, William Wundt studied the reaction time in the middle 1800s using scientific research techniques. He highlighted many key linkages between the study of human mind and the study of behavior. The science of physiology in his book entitled Principles of Physiological Psychology, which was released in 1873. Okay, let us know who is the father of psychology. Okay, the father of psychology or the father of modern psychology is William Wundt. He is a German physiologist, philosopher, and a professor who distinguished psychology as a science of philosophy and biology and was the first person ever to call himself a psychologist. So now let us know what is or where does psychology originate. So it is said that psychology was not a separate discipline, but rather it is under the umbrella or under the study of philosophy. So psychology noong una 1870, psychology is not a separate social science discipline, but it is under the study of philosophy. But there are so many factors that or contributors who have a great help when psychology is separated or become a social science discipline. While psychology does not emerge as a separate discipline until 1800s, its earliest history can be tracked back around the early Greeks during 17th century. So there is a French philosopher, his name is René Descartes, that introduced the idea of dualism, in which dualism is, he asserted that the study of the mind and the body were two separate entities. So there are many contributors then that make psychology a separate discipline. First is the father of modern psychology, which is Sir William Wundt. He first opened a laboratory in Leipzig, Germany He is also considered and established mga many written books, mga psychological books, and in his study, um, in his study, he dedicated his life and work in a scientific study of human thought process, which is often used in the beginning of the modern psychology. So upon his study, he later on discovered the introspection method. So here is this German psychologist outlined many of the major connections between science of physiology and the study of human thoughts and behavior. So William Wood, he wrote or published this book in 1873, The Principles of Physiological Psychology. So in that book, he perceived the subject as the study of human consciousness and sought to apply experimental methods to studying internal mental process, while his use of a process known as introspection. So when we say introspection, it is an observable, or you need to observe your own mental and emotional process. So how are you going to, you know, observe your own thoughts, your own mental or feelings? First, he said that engaging in mindful activities which is designed na para mo increase ang imuhang self-awareness. Next is having a journal, a diary for you to write down what are your thoughts, what are your feelings, and also reflection, meditation. That is how introspection works. You need to know your own feeling or thoughts. So structuralism, psychology's first school of thought, it is by Edward Titchener. He said, or according to him, that structuralist perspective, human consciousness could be broken down into smaller parts using a process known as introspection. Trained subjects would attempt to break down the responses and reactions to the most basic sensation and perception. So, saan nila pag-break down ang ilahang emotion into smaller parts? So, I've um, mentioned that earlier, by meditation, by having journals, by engaging themselves in mga mindfulness activities that will enhances their self-awareness. Next is, let's proceed to the influence of psychology in modern education. First is educational psychology. So it is said here that it is or influence the modern educational theories and practices in various ways. So, di ba, we have our learners are diverse, unique, and diverse. So as a teacher, we need to practice or know theories or teaching strategies that will cater those differences. So psychology deals with the total behavior pattern of man. Educational behavior has different facets of dimensions at as it is also a social behavior. In order to make educational process effective, psychology or the study of psychology really is a great help in giving our students activities that will enhance their mental processes. The influence next is the influence of psychology on theoretical aspect of education. So, the primary aim of education talaga is the total development of the child. So, in the past, okay, the child occupied the very like in the past pa, okay, the teacher is really the like the fountain of knowledge. The teacher will spoon feed the learnings to the student. But today, in the modern day, it is not the case. That is not the case. So the teacher are the facilitators of their learning, and the students is the one to discover what are those learnings. So si teacher lang ang mag-facilitate. So first here, the school is now regarded as the replica of the society. For bringing desirable and permanent changes in the child, the school should be organized as a society. So the child should be educated in a social environment of school, and the concept of school also has greatly influenced by the practices of psychology. Next is education is active principle. It means that the child should learn through self-activity. So dapat there is mga hands-on activity, true to life, mga authentic activity na ginahatag si teacher. Um, According to the psychologists, activity is a natural tendency of the child, which is active participation, hands-on. His natural inclinations are expressed through his activity. Next is education is a lifelong process from birth to maturity. So education is a process of acquiring experiences throughout his life. So from like gamay pa sila, the parents teaches them like how to walk, how to like to talk, ganyan. So during those mga infant pa sila, they are being educated na. So it is a lifelong process, and up until now, pila na ilahang edad, they are being educated pa rin. Changes takes place through the adjustment of the environment in which child lives. So there are mga really have like a circle or a family that that is very important to mold their character. So, 'di ba, it takes a village to educate a child. So, next is the influence of psychology on the practical aspect of education. So, here it is said that learning can be effective if the content of education is communicated through the senses. So it is said that children are really sensitive as well as imaginative. So in their from their very young age, they are really like they uses their five senses to communicate. Like for example, they are still in the infant. So how are they going to say to their mama na gigutom sila, 'di ba? Some kanang ginagamit nila like naga-cry sila, so children are very sensitive as well as imaginative. Senses is a gateway of knowledge. Hence, in presenting mga instructional materials, um, we need to have like the audio visual. Murag karon makita nato that the learners are being very like kanang kinahanglan para maka-learn sila, kinahanglan na makita nila ang mga objects, ang mga pictures. Para mas maka-learn sila, dili lang okay na makita, kinahanglan po na makadungog, madungga nila kung unsa ang ginastorya sa teacher. There are mga audio-visual learners, and it should be maximized and utilized. In psychology, the training of senses has greatly been emphasized. Next is another characteristic that is being featured in modern education in psychology is that content of structures should be presented in continuous sequence and integrated way. So if um, you are going to like teach mga World War I, for example, World War I, it should be timeline. Like it must be sequence or it must be arranged. Psychology emphasizes that for proper understanding, continuation, sequence, and integrated presentation of facts is needed. So, mas dali maka-learn ang mga students if continuous siya. Like, for example, yung hunong kaani na topic, you need to like to connect or to continue that. And it must be sequence. Like, dapat step by step pasunod siya kay para mas dali nila masabtan ang imuhang topic. Next is has each individual has his own innate potentialities, meaning that children or learners are unique and different. They came from different backgrounds. They came from like they have their individual differences. They are unique and they have their own potential. So in order to cater all that uniqueness, you need to have an activity that is like kanang very diverse. Dili lang you need to have the written lang, but you need to like have a drawing, homemaking, or other activities that will cater those uniqueness. Next is psychology has also influenced the modern principle of curriculum structure. So in the past, disciplinary value of the subject was the main criteria of selection of subjects for curriculum. But today, in a modern society or modern psychologists have discarded the theory of formal discipline. They think that no subject indispensable for curriculum construction for its unlimited disciplinary value. Next is modern educational science attaches importance to the proper analysis of maladjusted behavior of the school children. Okay, from the above discussions, it is really evident that psychology has really influenced education in different ways. So in the field of determination of aims of education, the impact of psychology was very like evident. The educational aims have mainly been influenced by like mga different philosophies. Thus, the influence of psychology in the theoretical aspect, in the practical aspect, rather, of education is partial and limited. But, ah, sa theoretical, it is partial and limited. While in the practical aspect of education, it is significant and as a whole. Next is, okay, let's proceed to the branches of psychology. We have many branches of psychology. So here is, we have the pure or basic psychology and the applied psychology. So here is some example of pure or basic branch of psychology. First is the abnormal psychology. In abnormal psychology, it is the study of mental problems, usually referred to us as mental illnesses, psychological symptoms of illnesses, or psychopathology. So the manner and how they are cared for and what impact they have in a person's life. So here are some example of the abnormal psychology. So if you experience poor memory, inability to process social cues, crying without reasons, disorganized speech and thoughts, like if you talk pataka na lang kag hitok, pataka na lang kag istorya, murag wala gud na ang imuhang mga thoughts sa imuhang utok wala na arrange. like that, disorganized siya. Crying without reasons, like, kanang mo, kalit na kagilak, wala ka, giunsa, poor memory, and hallucination. Maybe you have this schizophrenia, or it is also called a living nightmare. It's simple to picture someone with schizophrenia, alone and disheveled, talking to himself or ranting to someone else who only he seems to see. Murag siya ray makakita, ano, magstorya siya ra isa. This is terrifying image because the symptoms it depicts are so peculiar and unsettling. For individuals who interact with schizophrenic person, as well as sufferers themselves, schizophrenia may be a frightening condition to deal with. Schizophrenia is a severe mental illness that may sufferers describe as a living nightmare, which is underscored by the high suicide rate among those with the conditions. So, mana siya, like mag-istorya ikaw la isa, diba? And it is like severe na jud siya na mental illness. Next is the social psychology. A social psychologist's job is to understand and explain how the thoughts, feelings, and behavior of individual are being influenced by the actual image or implied presence of other human beings. And it is according to a psychologist, Gordon Alport. Social psychology primarily focuses on figuring out how each person's unique behavior is influenced by the social context in which that conduct occurs. Social psychology is the study of the interplay between an individual and social groups. Social psychologists tackle issues that significantly affect people's health and well-being, such as bullying. So, di ba, in school, there are, pag makita nato ang ato ang students, like, mura sila, o there are mga students na, like, a one group, there is a student also na loner lang siya. So makita nato or ma-understand nato dira through social psychology nga nung kani siya na person kay muraog ka ng loner siya. Nga nung kani sila ng mga tao diri is very sociable kayo sila. So that is how we understand and explain how the thoughts and feelings and behavior of the individual influenced by the actual image. Next is the educational psychology. Educational psychology, the study of educational psychology, focuses on how people acquired knowledge and retain it in educational environment like classrooms. This covers the learning processes that are social, emotional, and cognitive. Educational psychologists are concerned with children's learning and development. They use their specialist skills in psychological and educational assessment techniques to help those having difficulties in learning, behavior, or social adjustment. So, in educational psychology, um, those mga fast learners, teachers give them mga activities that is not kanang na ma-enjoy sila, na dili sila ma-bored. While those mga slow learners naman, teacher are being more focused to them para mas maka-learn sila o para mas makaapas sila dito sa level sa mga fast learners para walay ma-behind. So that covers the educational psychology. Okay. Psychology has greatly influenced the development of modern education, basic connections and relationship between psychology and education that are manifold. Educational theory and practices are conditioned by the nature of human behavior, what teachers do, how students learn, and how teachers can help students learn are the main influences of psychology on education. So I have here case study. This case study case study entitled Case Study Instruction in Educational Psychology, Implication for Teacher Preparation, and it is by Eliza Gonzalez De Haas and Patricia Willems. Okay, these studies become increasingly popular as a way of professional teachers to actively engage in problem solving for real life classroom situations. So this case study, it talks about the teachers need to have or allows the student to have like activities that is hands-on activities, mga authentic, mga realistic mga activity. It is because kung authentic man gud makarelate sila through real life experiences ana makarelate sila murag mas ma-retain na siya na mga lessons sa ilahang mind. Mas like ma-process nila and ma-store na sila na siya if kuan anong dali lang makarelate sila, mas store na nila sa ilahang long-term memory. So the benefits associated with this method of teaching include gaining an appreciation for the complexities involving teaching opportunities for like scaffolding, critical thinking skills, students being involved in mga authentic learning experiences in teaching learning experiences, mga decision making, and also it can motivate students to learn more. So that is for the case study. Next is, okay, for my implication about psychological basis of education. Today's educational system is highly complex. It is highly complex, and there is no single learning approach that works for everyone. So lahi-lahi jud na siya og teaching approach para makita ang needs sa mga students. That's why psychologists working in the field of education are really focused on identifying and studying mga learning methods to better understand how people absorb and retain new information. So educational psychology also apply theories of human development. Kung saan pag-develop sa learning sa bata, dili lang learnings pati ang ilahang emotional, ang ilahang social, ang ilahang spiritual well-being. And this human development understand individual learning and inform the instructional process, while interactions also with the teachers and the students in school is really important in playing a great part para the communication of the teacher and the student. Learning is a lifelong endeavor. People don't only learn at school, but they can also learn outside the four corners of their school or their four corners of their classroom. So people don't only learn in school, they learn at work, they also learn in social situations like kuan lang, like parties or attending birthdays sa ilahang mga like cousins, ana, maka-learn sila. And also, like mga simple tasks lang good inside their house, like running errands, nila, maka-learn po na sila. Psychologists working on the self-field examines how people learn in variety of settings to identify approaches and strategies to make learning more effective. So in psychology, in education, it offers valuable insights into how people learn and plays an important role in informing educational strategies and teaching methods. In addition, exploring the learning process itself, emotional and cognitive factors that can influence people behavior. So it is really important ang psychology sa mga bata. So I hope, okay, that would be all. And I hope that you have gained knowledge about my reporting. So by the way, I am Eliza Jade Lumaday. Thank you so much and God bless.